He hasn't started yet.
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Govindaye Namo Namaha.
Hare Krishna, we are reading from Canto 3 of Śrimad Bhāgavatam, Chapter 32, entitled Entitlement and Fruit Activities, verse number 37. Pravocam bhakti yogasya
Pravocam bhakti yogasya
Swarupam te chaturvidham
Swarupam te chaturvidham
Kalasya cha vyaktagatir
Kalasya cha vyaktagatir
Yontardhavati jantushu
Yontardhavati jantushu
Pravocam bhakti yogasya
Pravocam bhakti yogasya
Swarupam te chaturvidham
Swarupam te chaturvidham
Kalasya cha vyaktagatir
Kalasya cha vyaktagatir
Yontardhavati jantushu
Yontardhavati jantushu
Pravocam bhakti yogasya
Pravocam bhakti yogasya
Swarupam te chaturvidham
Swarupam te chaturvidham
Kalasya cha vyaktagatir
Kalasya cha vyaktagatir
Yontardhavati jantushu
Yontardhavati jantushu Pravocam bhakti yogasya
Pravocam bhakti yogasya
Swarupam te chaturvidham
Swarupam te chaturvidham
Kalasya cha vyaktagatir
Kalasya vyaktagatir
Yontardhavati jantushu Pravocam bhakti yogasya Swarupam te chaturvidham Kalasya cha vyaktagatir Yontardhavati jantushu
Pravocam bhakti yogasya
Pravocam bhakti yogasya
Swarupam te chaturvidham
Swarupam te chaturvidham
Kalasya cha vaktagate
Kalasya cha vyaktagatir
Yovantardhavati jantushu
Yontardhavati jantushu
Pravocam bhakti yogasya
Pravocam bhakti yogasya
Swarupam te chaturvidham
Swarupam te chaturvidham
Kalasya cha vyaktagatir
Kalasya cha vyaktagatir
Yontardhavati jantushu
Yontardhavati jantushu
Anyone else?
Pravocam bhakti yogasya
Swarupam
Swarupam te chaturvidham
te chaturvidham
Kalasya cha vyaktagatir
Yontardhavati jantushu
Pravocam
Pravocam
explained. Bhakti yogasya
bhakti yogasya
devotional service. Swarupam the identity. Te to you. Chaturvidham
chaturvidham
in 4 divisions.
in 4 divisions
Kalasya
Kalasya
of time. Cha
cha
also. Abhyaktagate
abhyaktagati
the movement of which
is imperceptible
Ya which
Antardhavati
chases Jantushu the living entities. Translation and purport by Shri Prabhupada Ki. My dear mother, I have explained to you the process of devotional service and its identity in 4 different social divisions. I have explained to you as well how eternal time is chasing the living entities, although it is imperceptible to them. Purport: the process of bhakti yoga and devotional service is the main river flowing down towards the sea of absolute truth. All other processes mentioned are just like tributaries. Lord Kapila is summarizing the importance of the process of devotional service. Bhakti Yoga, as described before, is divided into 4 divisions. 3 in the material modes of nature and 1 in transcendence, which is untinged by the modes of material nature. Devotional service mixed with the modes of material nature is a means for material existence, whereas devotional service without desires for fruitive result and without attempts for empirical philosophical research is pure transcendental devotional service. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananvirashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Śrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyadeshakarane Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Bhāgavatam Bhakti Yogasya Swarupam Te Chaturvidam Kalasya Chakraktagate Non Yontardhavati Jantushu. My dear mother, I have explained to you the process of devotional service and its identity in 4 different social divisions. I have explained to you as well how eternal time is chasing the living entities, although it is imperceptible to them. Hare Krishna, welcome all of you to the morning Bhāgavatam class. Before I begin, I would like to seek the blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, so that I can speak something in line with Prabhupada's purport, to keep it as it is. Hare Krishna. So we see that the context here is Kapila speaking to Mother Devamati. The context is Kapila speaking to Mother Devamati. So who was Devamati? Devamati was a princess. So this princess got married to a sage. There hasn't been fated like that, isn't it? Princess getting married to a sage. So this princess, she herself was highly qualified, because when she looked at the sage, she didn't see his physical beauty. What she saw was exalted qualities of Vaishnava, of a devotee. So therefore, the marriage was fixed. And she began serving Kardama, who was her husband, the sage Kardama. So while serving sage Kardama, she was doing it so nicely that it actually touched Kardama's heart. And as it touched Kardama's heart, So Kardama felt obliged to fulfill the desire of his wife. Then he asked one day, "My dear Devamati, please tell me what are your desires." That is when she revealed her desires. And she explained to Kardama. Of course, Kardama understood. He was a great sage. He could easily understand what was in the heart of Devavati. Shri Shri Radha Govinda Dev ki. So understanding the heart of Devavati, Kardama immediately, by his mystic powers, he brought out a palace, not a palace, actually a flying city. And Devavati, who was actually, she did not care for her beauty and for her charms and looks. She was just so nicely serving Kardama. So by now she was very frail and thin. So what did Kardama do? He arranged for some girls to take Devavati and make her beautiful again. To arrange her hair, to arrange her body, to arrange her dress, to arrange her ornaments. So again she became very beautiful. And for for a long period of time, they were enjoying in this flying city. Yeah. So as the time passed, actually when they were about to get married, there was a condition. What was the condition for the sage to get married? He said, as soon as I give you children, I'm going to retire. Because in the Vedic times, retirement was early. Today we find some presidents are also 80 years, isn't it? They are, some people only get off the post as they're killed or assassinated, otherwise they'll never get down the post. Some people don't want to retire at all. In Gulf, you have to retire at the age of 60 or 65. You won't get a job after that. But many places, retirement is up to you. You can work till your death. So, in the Vedic times, it wasn't like that. And you find, because, of course, the time and again, there's so many different examples of King Bharata, so many kings, they would retire early so that they can focus on their spiritual life. Because they knew what is the goal of life, isn't it? So similarly, sage Kardama told Devavati, this was the marriage condition, that I will get married to you provided you're okay, that as soon as I give you children, I'm going to retire. And do what after retirement? He would retire to the forest to meditate on God. This was his plan. So that's what happened. As they enjoyed for a long time, and finally sage Kardama gave her children, now he reminded her, okay, this is the time for me to leave to the forest. And now she understood, I had married a great sage called as Kardama, but I only took material advantage of him. So if you see in the Śrimad Bhāgavatam, there is a phrase in Sanskrit which says, Vanchita Maya Dridam. Vanchita Maya Dridam means Devavati is lamenting that this sage Kardama was such a potential spiritual master. I could have taken spiritual benefit from him, but how unfortunate, I only took material benefit. It's like coming to temple, missing the class and only taking prasadam. Of course, taking prasadam has its benefit, spiritual benefit, but that's not all in all. Or sometimes gurus or someone comes and there are certain devotees who only come when their exalted gurus come. Otherwise, they're never to be seen in the temple. Why? Because they want to show. Or some people come with their phone and they take a selfie to show that I've been with this guru, with this sannyasi. Because they're only extracting the name and fame from this guru. To really associate with spiritual saintly people means to hear from them, isn't it? And Devavati lamented that she did not do that. And therefore she says, Vanchita Maya Dridam. I got solidly cheated by Maya. That's what her lamentation was. And that time Kardama pacified her by saying, don't worry, I'm going to give you a son who will be the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. And his name will be Kapila. And in that context, probably this was in chapter 24. So chapter 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Now Kapila is concluding his long lecture to his mother, Devavati. So this sage Kapila, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead Kapila, was explaining the process of Bhakti Yoga till now. So 6 to 7 chapters he's explaining. A long talk, probably, I don't know how many days it went. But Devavati was listening, Kardama was speaking, and no other distraction. Isn't it? So therefore it is said, Pravocham Bhakti Yogasya. What is Kapila saying? My dear mother, I have explained to you the process of devotional service. Then it says, Swarupam te chaturvidam. Swarupam te chaturvidam means, I have also explained to you that this process is divided into 4 categories. So, before I go to that, you see in this world, when, like I was mentioning about Devavati, she was enjoying such luxury. Anyone is so rich to have a flying palace here? No. But Devavati was so luxuriously living her life that she had a flying palace. But after everything, what was the end result? If you can put up the verse, I think 25:7 should be. Yeah. She is saying Nirvinna nitaram bhuman asad indriya tarshanat yena sambhavya manena prapannandham tamah prabho. So she is saying, she is telling to Kapila. She is saying, I am very sick of the disturbance caused by my material senses. For because of the sense disturbance, my Lord, I have fallen into the abyss of ignorance. Can anyone relate to her experience? Falling into abyss of ignorance? Yeah, due to too much sense gratification. This is another thing you will find, that time and again as we engage in sense gratification, the end result is never happiness. Isn't it? Therefore Krishna is also speaking in the Bhagavad Gita, Ye hi samsparsha bhogam dukkha yonaya evate. That means Krishna is saying whenever there is a contact between sense and sense object, immediately what is produced? Dukkha is produced or sadness is produced. Did you ever experience that? You put a gulab jamun in your tongue and sadness is produced. What is produced? Sweetness is produced. Happiness is produced. So why is Krishna committing such silly mistakes? He's saying, as soon as the sense and sense object comes together, by the union of the two, dukkha is produced, or sadness is produced. How is it possible? And therefore he continues, Adyantavantha kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. Because this pleasure which is produced, which is seemingly happiness giving or producing, it is actually miserable because it has a beginning and an end. And therefore it is misery producing. Because if you ask anyone in this world, how much happiness do you want? Do you want 10 liters of happiness? Do you want 10 gallons of happiness? Do you want 10 acres of happiness? An estate of happiness, a country of happiness, a globe of happiness? You can never define, you can never say, I'm happy with this much amount of happiness. We're always continuously striving hard in this world to increase our happiness, that which is called as Atyantika Sukha Pravritti. Atyantika Sukha Pravritti means constant endeavoring to increase happiness. If all of you are sitting in the Bhāgavatam class today and listening, that means you're here because you understand, by hearing Bhāgavatam I'll be happy. And those of you who are forced to attend, even though you may not want to, if I don't follow the rules, I will not be happy. So therefore you are attending forcefully. Isn't it? Why? Because not one endeavor goes in our life where we actually endeavor for distress or where we don't increase happiness. So our endeavors are defined by two things. First one is Atyantika Sukha Pravritti, to constantly increase our happiness. How much? More and more. There is no boundary. And Atyantika Dukkha Nivritti, that means we are also constantly trying to reduce our distress. How much distress do you want? Little? Zero. Isn't it? We don't want any distress. Why sometimes in Sunday feast, we have an elaborate menu of nice dishes. And everything is nice. Nice pakoras, nice puris and sabjis and rice and dal. Only the sweet rice is burnt. So if you ask a person who has just had Sunday feast and is leaving the temple for some feedback, you ask him, what did you like the best? How did you like the Sunday feast? He'll say everything is okay, but the sweet rice was burnt. You will ask him, didn't you see the puris and sabjis? They were all nice, right? He says, yeah, that's okay, but sweet rice was burnt. Because what gets registered is the suffering, because we are not here to suffer. We are constantly trying so hard to reduce suffering. So therefore, our endeavors are based on two things. What is it? Constantly increasing happiness and constantly decreasing distress. Because increasing happiness means decreasing distress. Yeah? So, you find, therefore Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, as soon as sense and sense object comes together, sadness is produced. Because it has a beginning and an end. So what kind of happiness are we looking for? We want unending happiness, ever-flowing happiness, an ocean of happiness. Therefore, happiness is generally compared to an ocean of happiness. Because generally we cannot determine its length and breadth and height and width and depth. So it seems infinite. So therefore now devotee, having enjoyed herself in such a luxurious way, now she is lamenting that actually my heart is sad. Asat indriya tarshanat means I am feeling the scorching heat of material existence. How many of you have felt the scorching heat of material existence? Yeah, really? Yeah. Many of your friends won't have felt it. Therefore, they are still struggling in material life. What does scorching heat of material existence means? You know, sometimes when we are using the blender, so you put too many difficult to blend items like dates and tamarind paste and everything, so it becomes very difficult for the machine to move. So it only produces sound, but it stops moving. And after that, even sound goes. Only smoke comes because it gets superheated. That means we are increasing the material heat, the scorching fire of material existence. So then what do? Some say certain machines become very heated up. Then you pour some cold water, then they cool down. So in this material world, those people who are completely materialistic, they are finding this. For those people who are living in this world, we can feel the scorching heat of material existence. And what is the coolant for that? Practice of bhakti yoga. Practice of bhakti yoga becomes like the cold water you put on top of the machine. Isn't it? Similarly, you have pressure cooker. If you have handled pressure cooker, you know sometimes the pressure inside builds up so much that actually it's giving whistle after whistle. So now if you want to cool it down, can you open it directly, the pressure cooker? If you have done it before, you won't be here. Isn't it? So now what do? You can put some water on top of the pressure cooker. Immediately it cools down. Now you can open it. So what the material world is doing is it is increasing the material fever, especially today's civilization. It says Janasya Krishna Vimukasya Devat. Janasya Krishna means Janasya means the people in this world. What are they doing? Krishna Vimukasya Devat. That means they are turning 180 degrees from Krishna and they are walking away. And what do after walking away? Adharma Shilasya. They embrace adharma or irreligious practices. And what is the result of that irreligious practices? Sudukhitasya. They become sad. There is no story where you ask a person that after enjoyment, how did you feel? And he'll say, I'm very happy. There is no such story. One of the social scientists, he makes a remark, even animals after copulation, means after union, they become sad. This is research. Animals after coming together, after uniting, what is the end result? They become sad. This is research. So in this material world, because the pleasures have a beginning and an end, therefore there is no real happiness. There is a semblance of happiness. So when you get frustrated, what happens? Your head gets heated up. Then you have to put some cold oil, like coconut oil or something. Similarly, when things don't work out, we have so many desires. Okay, how many of you have 10 desires? How many of you have 20 desires? 50 desires? Some people have no desire. We have unlimited number of desires. We don't even know what desires we have. Because only when an opportunity is provided, certain desire comes up. When before coming to US, many Indians are very humble in India. When they come to the US, they earn some dollar notes in their pocket. Now when there's all this facility, can they still be happy? Can they still be humble? No. Like there was one live Indian television show for dance. Like in America you have So You Can Dance, isn't it? Something like that. In India also they had one dancing challenge. It's a live television show. So one person was from a village and he was asked, why do you want to participate in this dance show? He said, because I want to do some good to my village when I win the money, the prize money. So then he went on to win. He went on to win the prize money, which was like say $100,000, $200,000 worth. And then later on, he was asked, were you able to help out a village? It's a true story. He said, no, I wasn't able to do anything for my village because he used all the money for his sense gratification. So when he didn't have the money, he had very noble desires of helping out the village and so many other things. But when he actually got the money, so many internal desires came up, which actually swallowed up all his money. So therefore you see, time and again, material desires they have only cheated the living entities. And therefore Devhuti is saying, after she ventured through all this sense gratification, her realization is, I'm very sick of the disturbance caused by my material senses. This is her realization. And not just her realization, even our realization. For because of the sense disturbance, my Lord, I have fallen into abyss of ignorance. So, if you come to verse number 325, 26, okay, maybe 25, 325, 25. It is said, Satam prasangan mama vida samvido bhavanti hrit karna rasayana kataha tajjoshana arsha apavarga vartmani shraddha ratir bhakti anukramishyati. So it says, in the association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and thereafter he is freed and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begin. And the next verse it says, thus consciously engaged in devotional service, in the association of devotees, a person gains distaste for sense gratification, both in this world and in the next, by constantly thinking of the activities of the Lord. This process of Krishna consciousness is the easiest process of mystic power. When one is actually situated on that path of devotional service, he is able to control the mind. I just recited 325.25 and 325.26. So therefore, when we practice Bhakti Yoga, why is Kapila Muni actually speaking such lengthy chapters of Bhakti Yoga, the process of Bhakti Yoga? Because Bhakti Yoga is something that can cool down the scorching fire of material existence. Samsara dava nalida loka. Tranaya karunya ghanaganatvam. When we take shelter of the process of Bhakti Yoga and take shelter of a guru, of the devotees, then it is like there's a huge blazing forest fire. What is the solution for a forest fire? How can you get rid of forest fire? Sorry? Rain. That's the only way. Otherwise you have to get your machines and carry water from one water body and spray it, and too much of endeavor. But if rains come and shower over the forest, the region affected by forest fire, the forest fire is immediately mitigated, isn't it? So similarly, in our lives, we are all feeling the heat of material existence. In Isha Upanishad, Prabhupada explains, more the modern man, he is going away from God, the more the civilization is becoming godless, more the fever of material existence is increasing. 98 degree Fahrenheit, 99 degree Fahrenheit, 100 degree Fahrenheit, 101, 102, 103, 104. I don't know where we are right now in material existence. 107 is called as Maranajvara. Maranajvara means the fever at the time of death. 107 degrees. So we don't want to reach there. So more the civilization becomes godless, more the material fever increases. None of us like how we feel during when we have a fever, isn't it? We want to become well. Therefore we take rest and get rid of the fever. Because the heat which is produced is called as Ushna. It is not very pleasing. So therefore, Kapila is saying, Pravocham Bhakti Yogasya. Then I explained to you this process of Bhakti Yoga, which is actually the remedy for Devhuti's problem. And what was her problem? She was feeling the scorching heat of material existence. And the medicine given by Kapila was the process of Bhakti Yoga. And then he says, Swarupam te chaturvidham. This Bhakti Yoga can be practiced in 4 ways. There are 4 divisions of Bhakti Yoga. Anyone knows what are the 4 divisions of Bhakti Yoga? Yes, no? Yes. Yeah, 3 modes plus transcendental, beyond the modes. Correct. That's what Prabhupada talks about mainly in the purport. So if you see the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying, Bhakti Yoga as described before is divided into 4 divisions. 3 in the material modes of nature and 1 in transcendence, which is untinged by the modes of material nature. So how can Bhakti Yoga be in the 3 modes? In this world, if you look around you, what are in 3 modes? What all things are in 3 modes? Every single thing is in 3 modes. Isn't it? Even our actions are in 3 modes. Why? Because our mind is in 3 modes. So the 3 modes of material nature, sattva, rajas and tamas, they govern the practical movement of the material world. So who is the personification of the 3 modes or the personification of material nature? Maya Devi, yeah? Okay, or Durga Devi. So now she has effect on us. How does material nature affect us? Through these 3 modes. So how do you understand 3 modes? You can think of 3 modes as handcuffs. Handcuffs that actually keep us bound. It restricts freedom. So you can say that the mode of tamas is like an iron handcuff. Mode of rajas or passion is like a silver handcuff, and mode of goodness is like a golden handcuff. How many of you would prefer, which handcuff do you prefer? Any handcuffs? Not the golden one? You would prefer it, but you don't prefer being handcuffed with it, isn't it? So you find the 3 modes of material nature all are binding us to this material world. So whether it be our actions, our thoughts, our mind, our bodies, the tables, the furniture, the buildings, the cities, the environment, nature, everything is governed by the 3 modes of material nature. Everything. That means everything is a combination of some level of goodness, some level of passion, some level of ignorance. So then, how can something, see, if you are tied, who can help you? Someone who is untied. If you are tied to a chair, you are completely robed, and your feet are tied, your hands are tied, and your mouth is also tied, then who can help you? Someone who is free, whose hands are free, whose legs are free. He can come and untie you. So Krishna is like that person who is completely free. He is not bound by the 3 modes. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that I am beyond the 3 modes, isn't it? So now, if Krishna is beyond the 3 modes, how can a process to attain Krishna be under the 3 modes? You are able to understand the question? Can Bhakti Yoga, the yoga system, as Kapila is speaking, how can he is saying that 4 divisions of it, 3 of which are under the modes. So how can Bhakti Yoga be under the 3 modes? How can there be Bhakti Yoga in ignorance, Bhakti Yoga in passion, Bhakti Yoga in goodness? We'll give it a thought, yeah.
If it's mixed devotional service and it's not pure, it means that there's some expectation or some attachment still involved, which would make it involved with the
Okay, so you are saying if there are some other motivations, ulterior motivations, then Bhakti Yoga can come under the mode? Yeah?
Based on like the services we do, we require like all kind of like, for if we do cleaning service, we need a mode of passion.
You need mode of passion. No, that's another thing. I'm asking if how can something that is resulting in Krishna be under the mode? Yeah.
It's how we practice it,
How you practice it. Okay.
how we go about it.
So then you are saying the Bhakti Yoga can come under the 3 modes?
No, it's the practitioner who is on the 3 modes.
Yeah. Thank you. So actually Bhakti Yoga the yoga system can never be under the three modes. What is under the three modes is our practice of the yoga system. That is under three modes. So our practice can be in mode of ignorance. That means we are sleeping. Ignorance is characterized by Nidra, Alasya and Pramad. Nidra means sleep. Sorry? Yeah, laziness. Alasya is laziness and Pramad is madness due to intoxication. This is mode of ignorance. So even while chanting we can sleep. That doesn't mean chanting is in mode of ignorance. I mean the whole name is in mode of ignorance. But how we are chanting is in mode of ignorance. Isn't it? Or our mind is running everywhere in all directions except on the holy name. Then our chanting of the holy name is in mode of passion. Mode of goodness is sitting down and chanting. So you find the Bhakti Yoga never comes under the three modes, but our practice can be very much governed by the three modes. But there is a tip to that also. How can you make sure that your practice is not under the three modes? Everyone thinks like that. I'm doing it for pleasure of Krishna. Everyone thinks that I'm doing it for pleasure of Krishna. For example, someone can say, Prabhu, today I will not do any service, I'll just chant whole day. So is it governed by the modes or is it... He'll say it's for pleasure of Krishna. Isn't it?
Please your Guru, if you do it under the direction of someone who's not under the three modes.
Yes, you do it under the direction of someone who himself is not under the three modes. So when we don't listen to a self-realized guru, then what happens is we listen to the mind. Many people say, I want to be independent, I don't like authority. Actually, we are always subordinate. Did you know that? We can never be not subordinate to anything. When we seemingly have no one to surrender to, we are surrendering to a four-lettered guru. Who is that? Mind. So mind is dictating us. And the mind is very much governed by the three modes of material nature. How do you know? You know how astrology works? How can you understand the influence of planets on you? Because as the planets move, that also has an effect on our mental status. Isn't it? Like some people say, today I'm mood out. Because certain planets are moving and they are affecting your mind. So to the degree we identify ourselves with the mind, to that degree we will be mood out. What is mood out is not us. The spirit soul is always Satchidananda, is ecstatic. But now if the soul is identifying itself with the mind, then it will mood out. For example, say there's a desire popped up in the mind. Today I want to eat in donut plant. So now who wants to eat in the donut plant? When the desire comes, so who is really wanting to eat in donut plant? The mind, not you. Yeah. The mind, if we identify ourselves with the mind, then we say, oh yes, this is my desire, I have to really fulfill it. No, it is not your desire. So therefore, when we practice Bhakti Yoga, gradually as we mature in our practice of yoga, what happens is we can see how the spirit soul is different, not just from the gross body. We say, no, you are not this body, Prabhu, your spirit soul. No, you are not this body and you are not your mind. So the mind is governed by the three modes and also the body is governed by the three modes. So what happens is there are bodily necessities. More we identify with the physical and the subtle bodies, more we find those necessities as our necessity. Are you able to understand this? Yeah? So therefore, the mind, to the degree we identify with the mind, to that degree we are being dictated by the three modes of material nature, of goodness, passion, ignorance. So therefore, the way to become free, if you want to unlock the handcuffs, what do you have to do? You have to practice Bhakti Yoga under the direction of a self-realized spiritual master. That means in the association devotees, how they guide us. We need guidance. We cannot do without it. But that person also should be following his guide. Finally, it should be in a proper line connecting to Krishna. Otherwise, we all will be stuck in the three modes. Therefore, interestingly, you see what Srila Prabhupada writes. He says, devotional service mixed with the modes of material nature is a means for material existence. Ever heard that before? Devotional service being means for material existence? I found it very surprising. Devotional service mixed with the modes of material nature is a means for material existence. Only the devotional service without desires for fruitive activities, that means without any other ulterior motives, the transcendental pure devotional service, that is the only devotional service that can help us progress spiritually. So when we practice mixed devotional service, what happens is it is not really pleasing to Krishna. So therefore some people, even the yogi, people who practice Krishna consciousness for a long time, their realizations also change. Why? Initially when they came, they're fired up in the morning program, fired up for services year after year, but then after 10 years, they cool down. Then what happens is now they feel, okay, we are not this body, but we still have this body. That's the philosophy. We still have to take care of this body. So much so that it's okay if I don't come for, get up early. It's okay if I miss rounds sometimes. It is okay if I don't eat prasadam. We have to be practical. We just eat something which doesn't contain onion, garlic outside. No. Why is the philosophy changing? Because they haven't received realization in the practice of the 10 years of Krishna conscious practice. Why? Because they never practice pure devotional service. Now, can you blame devotional service for that? Whom can you blame? Ourselves. Yeah. So many people say, Prabhu, I'm chanting for so many years, but I'm not getting any taste for chanting. So who is to be blamed? People think, people just holy name, the glories of holy name is just overemphasized or exaggerated in the scriptures. It's not. The problem is we are not practicing that level of devotional service. And that is what is said. And what is a symptom of this is samshaya. See, Krishna, when he is speaking to Arjuna, as he is clarifying Arjuna's doubts, Krishna keeps in one chapter, one section, he keeps saying, na samshaya. For this, na samshaya. Of this there is no doubt. Of this there is no doubt. When you practice bhakti yoga, you will attain supreme destination. Of this there is no doubt. Krishna is repeating like this. But then we are getting doubts. Really? Does this really work? Why are we getting doubts? Because our practice has always been under the modes. Not even mode of goodness. It's mostly in the lower modes. And therefore, if you go to 3.29.8, I don't know if you can bring it up. In this section, Kapila is telling Devahuti that I've already explained to you. So we'll just go through translation because of lack of time. Yeah, see? Can you please repeat? Abhisandhaya yo himsam dambham matsaryam evava samrambhi binna drikbhavam mayi kuryat satamasaha. See, devotional service executed by a person who is envious, proud, violent and angry, who is a separatist, is considered to be in the mode of darkness. That means while practicing Krishna consciousness, we are envious of others. Why is he he came to Krishna consciousness after me, but he became a better mridanga player than me. Something like that. Or he can speak better than me. So then you want to foil someone else's plans. This is envy. Envy is very dangerous. Because jealousy means you see someone else having something and you feel, okay, I also want it. That's jealousy. Envy means you see someone else having something and you want to pull them down for it. That's envy. It's violent, includes violence. So envy, there is pride. Pride in devotional service. Prabhu, did you check out the temple hall? How nicely I cleaned? Then you can say, Prabhu, did you check out the temple hall? How clean it is? Then your friend will say, yeah, Prabhu, it's very clean. Do you know who cleaned it? Isn't it? Then I cannot tell you who cleaned it, but better you find out. So this is pride, because you really want to tell, but at the same time you want to be the best devotee to showcase your humility also. Therefore, one devotee he had written a letter to Srila Prabhupada and saying that, I am most fallen, I am most degraded, I am most this, I am most that. He was expecting Prabhupada will say, hats off to your humility. Prabhupada actually wrote back saying you are most nothing. Isn't it? Because the pride actually comes in devious forms. One thing is to say I am the best devotee, other thing is to say, Prabhu, I am the worst devotee. Inside I am thinking, actually I am the best devotee. And therefore I am projecting myself as the most fallen. So this is very dangerous. This is devotional service practiced in mode of ignorance, pride. And then violent. Violent means any small thing happens. Say for example, someone puts a small obstacle in your service, immediately you become very violent. In one temple, one devotee picked up a brick to hit another devotee. Yeah, I only heard that much from my senior. I didn't understand which temple, but it's true story. See, violent. And angry. Angry means when things don't go our way. Especially when we take so many decisions, when things don't go our way, we become very angry. So these qualities are not very good for a devotee. Because devotee is known by titiksha karunikaha suhrida sarvadehinam. That means tolerance, forgiveness, compassion, friendly to everyone. This is a devotee. But these are the characteristics of a devotee who is practicing pure devotional service beyond the three modes. So, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, therefore, a Vaishnava who is not of good character, he has to be respected because he is still he is a practitioner, but at a distance. Because fight, neophyte. If devotees are fighting too much, you can understand. They are not very mature in devotional service. A mature devotee backs out. Like you have seen Bhāgavatam, Indra and Prithu. Indra is foiling the plans of Prithu, and Prithu is challenging Indra and he is trying to capture Indra, but Indra is escaping. Time and again. When Brahma comes, what does he do? Whom does he tell to back off? Prithu. What does Prithu say? Sure. Though Indra's fault, Indra is foiling the plans of Prithu, who is doing welfare for the whole world, and Brahma is instructing Prithu to stop, and Prithu stopped. I mean, very mature devotee. Very mature devotee. So practicing in the mode of ignorance is a very neophyte devotee. Very new. Immature. And the next one is devotional service practice in the mode of passion. Vishayan abhisandhaya yasha aishwaryam evava archadav archayedyo mam pritak bhava sarajasaha. The worship of the deities in the temple by a separatist with a motive for material enjoyment. That means, people like to sing on prime days like Janmashtami Kirtan, midnight Kirtan, who will lead? I mean, Monday morning, who will lead? There's no competition. But Janmashtami Kirtan, Sunday feast lecture. Oh, in the US, everything is a humble position. In India, it's a big thing because in Sunday feast, you get 2,000 people. So there's competition. Yeah. So, material enjoyment, fame, and opulence. Opulence means as we get senior in a community, we expect facilities. That means because I've practiced Krishna consciousness for the last 15 years, so therefore wherever I go, I need a special room for myself. That is facilities. That is opulence. It's like you are cashing in your bhakti to get something material. So don't cash in your bhakti for anything. So therefore, my spiritual master says, however senior you are, what you may be the temple president, you may become the GBC, but never expect anything. Never tell anyone to do anything for you. Especially facilities, special facilities. If someone says, Prabhu, I want to do this for you, no problem. Because if it helps in service, but never ask for it. Never fight for it. The Bagh Bazaar temple. Who are the people fighting for that room, a lakeside view?